All right, everyone. Good morning, or whenever you're watching this. Hope everyone had a good week. This is the end of week trade review. So it was heavily focused on FMG this week, to be honest. Now, this was a sell trade here. So this was the Monday session, and to be honest, it was a bit of a misread on where momentum was and what was taking place. So there was a gap up. Did it start at 22 this week? Oh, 24. Okay, it was a typo. I was like, I think it ran to 22 to 25 this week. So I got in, gap up with several tops at 24.60. It couldn't break. Just for me to take a short bias on this one. First entry was at a break of VWAP, small sizing at 24.60, and then 24.46, then an add at 24.47. Just trying to ascertain what I did. Okay, so the stop was 24.60. I got in at 46, 47, and 49. So that was all 200 shares there as well. And then iron ore came down a little during the session, although the price didn't want to break through. It did want to break through the 40. I remember this now. So I was here, and it didn't. So I closed out in the end at 57. And see, I was okay with this. I was okay with this trade here, and last week wasn't too bad for some gains. Obviously, in June was pretty red, but this actually was okay. So I sort of followed the rules, and what I did do was probably misread that it was not wanting to close the gap. And later in the session, I didn't attach this though. The price of iron ore, just using that Dalian price index, it was pretty steady, and the market was up overall as well. I do remember this. All right, so we've got WOR today, and that on Tuesday. Sorry. So I was still watching FMG get through VWAP after it pulled back from the opening gap up. I was watching a couple other tickers, and I did miss the entry. So FMG, this was a pretty big move that it made. I missed that. So a friend of mine that day trades the ASX as well, Darren, was he called this out here, and here it was. So entries at, I think it was around, so that was 200 at 11.35, another 11.35, and then I got in again at 11.37 at 300 shares. So all up, that was 700 shares at an average of around probably 36 or so. And I've got the entry here, 825. So popped through VWAP and held, popped again, moved up after it just didn't want to break down, and through, can't quite see what that was, maybe 11.30 or so. And I just let this play out, honestly. Like, there was no reason for me to sell it. It was looking all right, and I wanted a 61 as the exit, or 60, and then I ended up getting out at 58 as it started turning over. I think there were a couple of exits there. I gave it a little more time to see if it wanted to bounce back. It didn't really, and I was just cautious. And I got lucky, and it fell through. But once you see it do that, and it still can't push back, then it's just a sign of exhaustion. That's all. This is not an exact science. It's just a matter of reading the tape and focus. So I find that's the big thing, really. So I'm just reading this here. Yeah, so again, these notes, it just says it was something that was manageable because there was no real it was, it was very manageable just to hold the position. I mean, it sort of flatlined a little bit. That was into the, midday or so. And then I just pushed a little bit higher, and there was no real catalyst here. It was, mining was up as well, and that seemed to help a little bit. But yeah, FMG moved again. So the 14th now. So this was, all right. So this was a little uglier today. So I had some sell trades and some buys. So now what happened here was that I was short 25.11, and then what happened was I got out, but I'm not really sure, but there was like a delay where it didn't display straight away, and that can happen. There's a bit of lag or whatever, probably with my internet, but I didn't confirm this, and I sort of panicked a little bit, and I went bam bam, which it's crazy. So I ended up buying 400 shares at 25.19, and I closed that out at 25.17. I did give it a little bit of time, as you can see. Gave it 3 minutes to see if it did want to push higher. It didn't really want it. Today was a pretty flat day as well for FMG. It moved a little bit on Monday and Tuesday, so it was having a breather today. And I got in at 25.20 with 400 shares to end the day, because it popped through VWAP and it was actually looking not too bad. And it ended up closing at 25.20 as well. So that was that. It was, it was a bit of a fat fingers type deal though. But iron ore was holding strong and didn't want to break through. Did not want to break. I was, as you can see, it did actually. I shorted here at 25.12, 25.11, but it didn't want to get through 25, and several attempts, and then it popped back over, and then I got out of that at 25.15, and probably could have cut out a bit early, but I just thought maybe. But something like this is telling you that the stock is really not keen to go any lower. So that was Wednesday. That was Wednesday, and then Thursday was nice, and as you can see, price just sort of moved pretty strong. Now I was in 25.20. Obviously it moved a bit lower, and I initially had the stop loss overnight at 25 flat. I actually moved that to 24.80 just in case it just sort of spiked down a little bit and try to liquidate some stops. At 25 is that's a little too it's just too close to where it was trading, and then it broke over 24.19. I got in again, and the entry was 20 as well. I added 200 shares. So I could have probably gone 400, but that would have been, the reason why I didn't do that is that probably, I don't have a big account. That's actually, that would be me at max size pretty much. And then I'd sell this to 25.70. It moved a little further, maybe to the 74, 75, but then it actually rolled over. Actually, no, I think it held up. It did hold up pretty close, because I got out at. There was more trading to be done in the session, but it sort of stabilized there. So that was where the exit was on that. So that was pretty nice. And as you can see throughout the morning, this is a nice reference point I utilized just to tell myself it's a pretty strong catalyst, and market was moving higher as well. So. How was that? And then yesterday it was just 24 up. I was a little slow. I thought it was gonna just come down a little bit further, pop through VWAP, and VWAP was here that's actually below 60. That's like 25.55. So I got in at 78. I haven't attached the entry there, but 25.78, and then held it, didn't want to get through 26, so I gave it a little time. But really, entry down here, I mean, this would have been a nice trade. It was just 400 shares as well. I'll just try and find the order, actually. I'm just bringing it up now, guys, to see. I normally... Yeah, there we go. So it was 78 at 904, and then out at 84. So, and then it closed out at 78. So I'm a little mixed on FMG and what it's going to do next week, but probably, and I mentioned this, I think on a Twitter comment or Twitter reply, you know, you'd want to see it come back down a little bit, maybe to the 50s, and then off she goes again for another attempt at 60. So another attempt at breaking through 26, sorry. So that's it. That's the week. I mentioned a few things here. These are all the trades that I took. Back to sort of normal risk as well after June was, you know, sort of mid-June where I had to reduce a little bit because I was all over the place. But up 380, then the week up 704 so far for the month. And that's really it. So again, I can get better at entering quicker and exiting, you know, when there's clear signs that the market is exhausting a little bit, or in the opposite if I'm short and the market's looking like it's finding some strength. But that's the video, guys. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.